I came up with this name as I was sort of pondering the state of Agile and a lot of the sort of dogmatic behaviors that I see in Agile, and I've always been interested in this a little bit in genetics, as much as I can sort of manage with my day job, and also memetics, or the spread of memes. So I'm basing this talk on those two interests. I won't claim any deep expertise in either memetics or genetics, but do think there are some interesting ideas there. Been doing this for a while, 23 years, a little bit more of lean and agile work in many different methods. Host of the Agile Toolkit podcast. Many of you may have joined Jürgen Apollo on our live stream a while back. I just recorded a podcast with him that I should be releasing relatively soon. And here locally in the DC area, I'm the chair of the local volunteer conference, not to be confused with the Lightspeed conference, and that is the Agile DC conference. And as Maggie mentioned, that will be coming to a venue near me at the Kellogg Conference Center on October 23rd. As part of prepping for that, I went back just this morning and looked at the donations that we have given to not-for-profits from that for-benefit conference since 2012, and found out that it came up with a number of $328,730. So I'm very excited to finally know that number. I don't know, for some reason I haven't looked it up or added it up in all of these years. So happy to make that impact on the local community. Okay. So The Selfish Gene was published in 1976 by Richard Dawkins. And this is a particularly sort of interesting clockwork orange picture of him. He looks maybe a little creepier than I'm used to seeing Richard Dawkins. But in that book, he posited the theory that rather than individuals being the sort of replicating unit of evolution, which clearly these individuals are replicating units, but ultimately it's their genes that are striving for immortality, particular genes that find their way into the next generation, have some level of fitness, and may have conferred that fitness on the individual in which that gene reproduced. That being said, we know from viruses, from parasites, not all genes are kind to the individuals in which they may replicate and spread. So his idea that really revolutionized the study of genetics was this idea of individual gene propagation and replication as the mode of evolution, or as the source of evolution. And this is particularly important when we start to move into the idea of a meme. Now, many of you sure have seen cute cat pictures on the internet, but a meme is really any unit of cultural information that can be passed from one replicator to another. In this case, I have an idea, I share it with somebody, it's memorable, they like it, they share it with somebody else. It may mutate over time, and that memes symbolic meaning or the actual contents of the meme might change. But in The Selfish Gene, Richard Dawkins posited that any replicator with imperfect replication will undergo evolution, and posited that memes do the same thing. And that idea of memetics and the word meme, there had been some uses of similar words in the past, but really became identified by him in the book of really that represented Richard Dawkins' seminal work on genetics. And they too can be selfish and do not, and I'll use scare quotes, care about you or your teams. If anyone has seen memes of like the stupid challenges on TikTok, they spread and they can be quite dangerous to the people that undertake them. So fear me, I have dangerous memes. Not every idea that spreads is a good idea. But memes are powerful because they provide a really concise, memorable, replicatable idea that can influence the way we think, how we act, or they can work together in what's called a memeplex. And I think the Agile community, as with really any community, is a memeplex. We have lots and lots of different ideas that are spread between Agilists and to non-Agilists to, scare quotes again, spread the good word, right? And I believe that one of the things we should have learned from Lean, and I think many of us have, that evolution of process, practice, behaviors shouldn't stop. This idea of a fitness landscape has been around and was part of the Selfish Gene book, and there may be local optimas, locally situationally specific optimal ways of working as a team, working as a person, and the ideas that we absorb can have a huge influence on us. So we're going to be doing some interaction today, but I wanted to share a few such memes, and then we're gonna break out into some Zoom breakout rooms and on a mural board and sort of explore this idea. Most of you, if you're from the Agile community, will recognize this, the manifesto for Agile software development. That has gone viral. People will play, value police in the community using just these 4 dimensions, and these happen to be what 17 people got together and agreed upon in a couple of days, right? So is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? The meme is indifferent to it. If anybody has any questions as we go along, please let me know. Scrum. Ken Schwaber, Jeff Sutherland, and others came up with a collection of processes, practices, pulled it together into a framework. It has gone viral. It is the most popular team delivery model in the Agile community, for better or for worse. Okay. It's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just an observable fact. SAFE, a a memeplex that is fairly expansive. Currently, the most popular scaling model, or the scaling model that many love to hate. I'm fairly agnostic on whether I hate it. I just need to know it. There's some good ideas in there that came from many people in the Agile community, pulled together into collection of ideas. And like any idea or collection of ideas, they can be applied in a way that is not optimal for your situation. Kanban, right out of Lean. There are some ideas in here that are maybe a little more flexible and interested in evolving the practice over time, implementing feedback loops, improve collaboratively, flow value fast. All of those things can provide the basis for a good Agile practice. But I also see many inflexible, dogmatic implementations of Kanban. It has gone viral. Well, sometimes nature or memes will hit on a solution that is very, very durable. Behold the mighty tardigrade. They're about 1 millimeter long or smaller, sometimes referred to as some of the cutest names ever, moss piglets. It's a fantastic name. Water bears. They've been roughly in their modern form for about 500 million years. Now, certainly there's been some evolution, but this was a very stable solution to the problem of surviving. And in fact, the tardigrades have survived all 5 mass extinctions that we currently know about. They can survive temperatures down to 458 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 1 degree Kelvin for you physicists out there. 1 degree above absolute zero in Kelvin for about a minute, and much, much longer at 20 degrees below zero, 200 degrees below zero Fahrenheit. They can withstand pressures of 15,000 feet below sea level. They can be dehydrated and survive for 10 years. They're 1,000 times more radiation resistant than other animals, and they can manage to live and reproduce, or sometimes go into hibernation in situations of extreme environmental toxins. Now, so we've got one from the natural world, very stable, hasn't required much evolution to maintain fitness in the environment. And we've got several memes from the Agile community and more that I'd love to explore as part of this class or this session, this workshop. I will posit that Agile methods are not as likely to have evolved quite as, air quotes again, right, as the tardigrade. Now, I would love to be wrong, because that's where I've staked my career. But I don't believe it to be true. I've seen bad implementations of SAFe. I've seen bad implementations of Scrum that were kind of by the book. I've seen bad implementations of Kanban. I've seen the Agile manifesto used in, pun intended, manifestly inappropriate ways to support certain ideas. So as part of our breakout, I'm going to set a timer, and we'll We'll generate a collection of memes. We'll do a little voting session so that everyone can pick the most popular, and we'll have some breakout rooms for people to explore. Now, what I want us to explore when we're in that breakout room is, what are those memes? So we'll do that first. After that, in the separate breakout rooms, I want you to talk about how that meme might anchor our thinking in a particular way. How does that change our behavior? How does it anchor our thinking? And what experiments could we run to evolve that practice, to make it more situationally appropriate, or to find out if for this team solving this problem at this time, this is the perfect solution. But before I do that, I just wanted to open it up to comments or questions with my thesis, because I'm not an expert in this area, but I'm interested in any questions you have. Yes, those are mutations. Thank you. Experiments are sort of unintended experiments in a fitness landscape. Yeah, Stephen.
Yes, Bob, I do have a question for you.
Sure.
A few moments ago there, you were talking about, or earlier on, you introduced an issue with what we're talking about is some level of dogmatism and dogmatic approaches. And then you mentioned that some implementations of SAFe and also Kanban went south, even though they were done by the book. My question is, if you talk about dogmatic thinking, is this the same as applying them with black and white thinking, that either you do it completely by the book or you're not doing it right at all, rather than applying critical thinking to see what applies to the situation and what doesn't?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And to be fair to Kanban doesn't come with a set of, concrete things you must do. There's sort of meta practices like visualize, implement feedback loops, collaborate, within the group for continuous improvement. But yeah, absolutely. Any other question? Yeah, Manoj.
So memes are doesn't copy itself perfectly, and some of them are bad copies. Some of them survive. Some of them doesn't survive. Some of them kill the ones, if I translate that to genes. So isn't that what's going on with if you consider Agile as a meme?
So absolutely, but I think because I see a lot of people saying there's one right way to do, a particular practice, that may sort of limits our critical thinking, as Stephen mentioned, is this the right thing to apply? I've got an ops team. Can I really lock scope every sprint? Right? That seems like an irresponsible thing to do in the face of reality. Yeah, Manoj, did you have your hand up again, or?
Oh, I was just going to say, I agree with you that, so meme is something that we start with, and then it continues to copy, and the ones that survive, and the ones don't survive may kill the organism, or continue to survive and get better at it as it goes.
Yeah. So, but that evolution, that getting better and weeding out the bad ideas, requires that we introduce some level of variation. And in our case, it's going to be variation with a practice or using different ideas. In genetics, it's just can be random drift, can be lots and lots of different ways of introducing or experiencing genetic modification. Okay, so I'm going to we're going to go out to a mural board. I'm going to share a link in the chat. Take a tiny bit to get this set up. So when you get there, there's a link in the chat. You should be able to join as a visitor. Won't be required to register with Mural. And I'll give you a quick little visual tutorial on how to navigate. So really the easiest way to navigate on Mural, in the upper right hand of your browser, few icons in, you're going to see something that looks like a bulleted list. I'm hovering over it and you'll see that it says outline. What I would love for you to do is click on that. That will drop down a menu. And that will allow you to select and go to a particular space on this mural board. I would love for you to click on number 1, go to the memes area. And what I would love for you to do is the easiest way to create a sticky is just to double click in that area. I would love for you to just start putting some memes up there. I'll add story point estimation. One potential estimation model. And I'll see a lot of people say we have to use story point estimation in Agile. I'm not sure who made that rule. I don't know that anyone did, but communities of practice, excellent. Event storming, excellent. Technical debt. Interesting word. Cunningham always talked about technical debt as a metaphor. The debt as a metaphor for systems. Sprint retro, excellent. Scrum ceremonies, just even calling them a ceremony has an effect on how we think about them. I don't know. No cake, no laughing and crying, probably not a ceremony, but that's just me. Velocity, waterfall is inherently bad. Yep, I hear that that meme a lot. Vista 5. Give it a couple of more minutes and then we'll do a dot vote on which one you guys want to discuss in your breakout rooms. Growth mindset, let me add. I'll add fail fast. One more minute, and then we'll do a voting session.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
While you're waiting, since you have the one for story point estimation, is this referring just to the process of putting story points on a story? or does it mean the method by which you do the estimation?
I would say just the idea of story points as a comparative estimation tool, because you've got other memes around planning poker and other ways of facilitating that. But
Got it.
and to be honest, whoever, if that one gets upvoted and you drag it into one of the rooms to discuss whatever direction you want to take it, it would probably be hard for me to argue that you've not thought of it as a meme. So Kanban the board. Yeah, thank you, whoever did that. Okay, so I'm going to start a voting session. Okay, you guys are okay. I will end the session and see where popular demand has put us. Okay, story point estimation. Wow, I really anchored the conversation by putting that out there. My apologies. That's the problem with the meme. It tends to anchor people. Excellent. We've got story point estimation, technical debt, and sprint retrospective, and fail fast. Well, we've got just a couple of minutes. I'm interested in feedback on this session from those of you that remain. I know some people had to drop. Was this idea valuable, helpful, harmful? Was it a dangerous meme in and of itself?